Children thrive with routines. Schools know that from the research, so they include routines a lot. Parents can benefit from routines for kids as well by creating them and teaching them to kids. And it's really important. I'm going to talk about both components today, creating routines for kids and how to teach the routines for kids. Because so often I hear from parents who talk about, for example, how morning is so stressful. And they say, I have a routine for my child. And when we talk about it, I often say, does your child understand the routine? And to get the full benefit of a routine, parents need to implement the routines, but they need to teach the routines. So I'm going to be talking a lot today about how to do both, how to create effective routines and how to teach the routines to kids. So routines are really helpful. They provide consistency and repetition and predictability. And that's one of the reasons that kids thrive in those circumstances, because kids are often uncomfortable when they're out of their comfort zone. And so when something new or unexpected happens, or they don't know what to expect or what they need to do, they're often uncomfortable and they object. But if they can learn that they have these steps that happen every day and they'll know what to do, it can be helpful. Creating repetitive, consistent routines can be reassuring to kids when they're presented and maintained well. Again, I'm going to be talking a lot about that today. Routines help provide a roadmap for blocks of time. So routines are really stacks of habits after habits after habits. And again, they provide predictability that can be very reassuring. Routines are a real gift because they help kids learn life skills, like how to get ready in the morning so they can get ready for their day's activities more easily, more directly, with a greater flow, a smoother flow, and less stress. And they help kids learn independence and self-mastery when they understand the routines. So if you create an effective routine for your child, it can help you and your child get through blocks of time with greater smoothness, greater flow, and less stress. I'm Dr. Ellen, and I'm going to be talking today about creating routines for kids of all ages, from infants to toddlers to tweens and teens. I'm going to talk about the biggest error that I see parents making with regard to kids' routines. And I'm going to give you 3 keys to creating effective and successful routines for kids. And again, routines are helpful for kids of all ages because they provide structure and predictability and organization and order and consistency and confidence when kids learn about the routine. So they can be really helpful. And if you have a block of time that's stressful, helping a child learn a routine can really be helpful for a child and for you. And as well, if you're finding a block of time stressful, even if you have a morning routine, but you're still finding mornings stressful, you can probably upgrade and update and revamp your routine to help make your morning or whatever time block more smooth, to flow more easily and less stressful. And I did do a video recently on routine for mothers and parents and habits. And if this topic interests you, both for kids and yourselves, it might be helpful for you to go back and watch those 2 videos. But again, today, I'm going to be talking about routines for kids. So, a typical routine for the morning might be wake up, go to the bathroom, get washed, brush your teeth, get dressed, have breakfast. These are all typical things we do. But the good thing about routines is that you don't have to recreate every morning order, that you do it day in, day out. And so you have a routine, step by step flow. And of course, we try to put some more complicated things in our routine to make the days easier as well, and some components that may decrease stress and add more confidence. But again, routines help because you don't have to recreate what you need to do. It's consistent. It's already laid out for you or your child. And when life is busy and stressful, having things laid out, having a routine can be an efficiency booster, a confidence booster, and a stress buster. So let's talk about these repeated patterns of habits and how they can add structure to blocks of time. And I'm going to mention actually an important block of time. We usually talk about morning routines and night routines. I'm going to talk about afternoon routines for a moment for your kids who come home from school, especially your tweens and teens. If you don't want to have to keep yelling at them to do your homework, it's great to have a routine where they know they come home from school, maybe they have a snack, and they start working on their homework efficiently. So it's not late at night and they still haven't done or started something. They work efficiently with a routine, knowing that homework is an activity that they're responsible for in their routine. Again, it's predictable, repetitive, consistent, not a surprise. So I do want to start talking about the individual age levels now in routines. I'm going to start with infants, and then I'm going to increase up the ages. So routines for infants can help babies understand their circadian rhythm. When we wake up in the morning and we get dressed and have breakfast and start the day's activities, and the lights are on, we do our activities in the light. And then later in the afternoon and early evening, we take a bath, we get into pajamas, and we start slowing down our routines. We start slowing our activities, and we do some quiet time, maybe a book or a song, and we go into bed and it's dark. So again, routines help infants learn and understand the difference between day and night, and understand what they're supposed to do differently in the day and nighttime. I get a lot of parents who come to me for help with getting kids, infants and toddlers to sleep, and even older kids to sleep through the night. And there are a lot of steps that I do help them with, but the first one that I usually ask is, what's your nighttime routine? How do you help your kid soothe into nighttime and become aware that night is different from day? And of course, I do talk with my clients about other recommendations and methods as well. But that's the first question I often ask. What's your nighttime routine? So again, routines help kids learn, infants learn about daytime, nighttime, what we do during different parts of the 24-hour cycle. For toddlers, they often object when they don't know what's going on. And so teaching them routines can really help reassure them. And teaching them when and how to get dressed in the morning is really helpful for them and for you. And also to change clothes in the evening. This is part of our daily activity. And it can be a fun part of our daily activity. And for toddlers, a lot of my private clients also ask me how to get them to sleep longer at night and how to get them to sleep in their bed without being afraid to sleep in their bed, or not wake up 2 or 3 times a night and run in for parents. So again, routines, that repetitive, consistent activity can help kids really orient and learn about the 24-hour cycle and how they can get used to what they're supposed to be doing. So again, if you want your kid to sleep the nighttime, to stay in bed, all of these things start with habits and routines. For tweens and teens, we want to teach our kids life skills and independence. We want to prepare them because if they go off to college someday or to get a job someday, we don't want them to be confused about how to get through the morning and to need us to lead them. It's time to get up. It's time to get dressed. Go have breakfast. We want our kids to be ready to go away to college and know how to take care of themselves, or go out off to life, go off to adulting and know how to take care of themselves, not just the morning, but throughout the day. We don't want to have to remind them, brush your teeth, take a shower. And there are so many parents who come to me and tell me they're repeatedly yelling at their kids from toddlers to teens. Wake up already, it's time to get dressed, time for breakfast. And if that is you, I'm going to help you upgrade your routine for your kids so that it's going to make it easier for your kids and for you, because that's the goal. And that leads me to the biggest error that I find with parents and kids' routines. And that is parents who lead their kids' routines consistently. So parents who will call in the morning, all right, it's time to come down for breakfast. Are you dressed? Robert, I told you 3 times to get dressed. Sally, I called you twice to come down for breakfast. If kids are used to you running their routine, then it's not their routine. It's your routine. You're just nagging them about it. They don't have a routine if you're running it. And again, it's important to teach a routine to your kids. And I'm going to discuss that very shortly, how to teach it to them. But I just want to mention, kids love to be led. It's so much easier for them to sit back and wait to be told, all right, come down for breakfast, or to be asked, did you get dressed yet? Rather than taking the responsibility themselves and feeling like they have to be in charge of themselves. It's much easier for them to wait for directions. So they'll be happy to do that if you're willing to lead them through routines. And if you do that, again, it's not their routine. It's your routine that you're leading them through. So that's the biggest error. Parents leading their kids through the routines. And again, secondly, parents not teaching the routines to their children. So a lot of us think, well, it's morning time. Of course, you have to get up, you have to get dressed, you have to brush your teeth, you have to come down for breakfast. For us, it seems second nature, it seems natural. Why do you have to teach your kids? But for kids, it's not really always natural that they're in charge of that, because they just get used to being led, to be directed. So how can you teach a routine? And again, routines are roadmaps, they're orders. It helps us plan our blocks of time. And that's why we have routines, because they can help us. So there are 3 ways we teach our kids routines. And the first is verbal. It's just by explaining to your kids what we do. This is what we do in the morning to get through easily and faster with a smoother flow. There's less stress. And I even tell the parents that I work with, when you're getting your infants dressed in the morning, I love when parents will say, look, it's morning time and the sun is out. We're getting dressed, ready to go to whatever. I think it's great to talk to infants. And we think they don't understand us, but I think they do pick up a lot of information. And they certainly understand if you're talking to them nice and loud versus at night when we're not talking, we're quiet. So the first way of teaching kids about routines is verbal. The second can be writing. You might want to write out a routine, especially an afternoon routine when kids get home from school. You might want to write out and let them have a note, have a snack, start your homework, if you have to call a parent or whatever. So sometimes it's helpful to write routines. And for kids who aren't reading age yet, and this is the third way of teaching routines, use pictures. If you think about preschool classes and kindergarten classes, they use routines a lot. Kids know exactly what comes first and next and after. And lots of times they have routines out in pictures. They have pictures where they hang their coats. They have pictures that kids start at a community area first, and they read a book together. And they have pictures with the order of the day, so kids know what they start with, what comes next, and what comes next. And you can do that by drawing pictures or by taking photographs and lining them up on a poster or even a paper, so kids can learn what comes first, next, and after. And again, these are all helpful. What I think destroys a routine for kids, again, is if you lead it, and especially if you yell at kids what to do. Susie, I told you 3 times, come down for breakfast. Because kids don't learn when they get yelled at. And I tell my clients, I give kind of a funny example, but if you think about it, if you are at work and your boss says to you, you didn't do what I wanted you to do in this block of time. You're supposed to do this and then do that and then do that. You're not going to be relaxed and learning the routine. You're going to quickly try to get done the first and second and third thing just to get yourself out of the situation. It's not a calm learning environment. And I put that boss example in just to give you an idea. If you were to get yelled at, again, it wouldn't be relaxing. You're not learning, you're just trying to make it through. So again, we want kids to learn. So I talked about the biggest problem I see with parents and routines. Let me give you 3 keys now. And number 1 is be supportive, but not directive. So we want to help kids learn the steps of a morning routine or a nighttime routine. So in the beginning, you may have to prompt them and help them learn what's next and what comes next in a supportive way, but again, not in a yelling way. And eventually, depending on an age-appropriate routine, kids can learn the order, and they might have pictures with them or a written list that might help them as a prompt as well. So again, be supportive, not directive. Don't lead them through the whole routine, or it's your routine, not theirs. And second is to be encouraging and motivating, not punishing or scary or yelling. Again, thinking about that boss example, if they're getting yelled at, if they're getting directed the whole time, they're not learning, it's not their routine. And the third example is be a role model. So discuss with your kids what you do and how you handle your morning routines so that you know everything is in order, everything can flow smoothly, and you don't have to worry about thinking each morning about what happens because you have the steps all laid out already. And discussing with your kids how their steps can help them have everything laid out as well. And another example is you might want to have kids lay out their clothes the night before to help them. So in the morning, their clothes are already laid out. They don't have to think, oh, what do I want to wear today? What am I doing in school? What do I have to think about? So again, serving as a role model yourself and explaining how routines help you can be assistive in helping you teach about routines to kids. And again, if you're finding your morning routines or evening routines stressful, then there are steps you can take to update, upgrade, and revamp your routines. And I'll refer you back again to 2 videos that I did recently, one on creating routines for mothers and parents, and one on habits that are helpful. I think that those both might be helpful to you if this topic interests you. And I hope that this video was interesting and helpful to you. If it was, I'll ask you to click thumbs up. If you'd like to share it with other parents who might find it helpful, that would be wonderful. I have a passion for sharing information. And third, hit subscribe so that you can benefit when I come out with a new video. And I will come out with a new one next week. I come out with one every week. And if you have any topics that you'd like me to speak on, feel free to comment and contact me. If you would like to speak to me further about how you can update your routines or your kids' routines, I will leave contact information below. And I will see you next week with another video on another important topic. So until then, be strong, be empowered, and let's talk again together soon.